Lucy, what's wrong? Did something happen to Carrie?
No, she is still at school. It's better that she is not here yet. I just had to disown my own mother today.
Come sit with me and let's talk about it. So what happened?
My mother is a Jehovah's Witness, and as you know, they do not accept LGBT people like us, which is why she refused to attend our wedding or the birth of Carrie. Today we spoke for the first time in nearly a decade, and it may be the last time ever. She said, "I am so disappointed you never gave me a grandchild, unlike your sister." I said, "You have a granddaughter, Carrie, that you have never even met." She replied, "She is not my granddaughter. She doesn't even look like us." I finally said, "Then I guess you shouldn't have me as a daughter either," and hung up on her.
Oh God, I am so sorry, Lucy.
This is absolutely not your fault, Jessica.
I can't help but wonder if we should have made more of an effort to find a black sperm donor so that Carrie could actually be biracial.
No, I said it didn't matter then, and it still doesn't. Carrie is family, and that is not a matter of skin color or even DNA.
Do you think we should explain to Carrie what happened? She has seen her white grandmother a dozen times, but never her black one, and I think we need to come clean about why.
Leave that to me. She should be arriving from home in a few minutes. So how was school today?
Most productive. I got an A on my science test.
Did I ever tell you about my religious background and why I became an atheist?
I always assumed you rejected religion because you are lesbian.
That was one issue of many. Another was that my family was opposed to me going to college, and said it was against their beliefs. I was raised in a cult called the Jehovah's Witnesses. I figured out that the rejection of higher education was an effort by leaders of the cult to keep their members brainwashed. Those who lack higher education tend to also lack critical thinking.
Weren't Michael Jackson and Prince also members of that cult?
Indeed they were, and that's why it still enjoys some public respect, but it really does not deserve it. Celebrities can be just as ignorant and foolish as anyone else. Anyway, before I met Jessica, I felt like my life was falling apart after I came out as lesbian to my family and they kicked me out of their home. I was even suicidal for a while. Jessica literally saved my life by loving me in a way the cult and my family never really did. Anyway, that is why you have never met my own mother. She not only scorns me for being lesbian, she refuses to even acknowledge your existence. And in any case, you don't need to deal with her bullshit. No matter what happens, I love you, Carrie.
I love you too, Mother Lucy. And your and Mother Jessica's love is enough. So you think Carrie took her black grandmother's rejection well?
It really shouldn't be an issue at all. Damn these cults. Why must they tear families apart?
I guess I should be thankful I was never raised in any religion, but I still wonder about people like you that were.
And yet it was you who came up with the idea of forming a Unitarian Universalist fellowship here.
True. I did that for Carrie's sake, because children like her need guidance to help them resist the bigoted culture that surrounds them in towns like this. I wish I could just open my black grandmother's mind and heart. Why can't she just love me? I don't know why my brother likes the Dallas Cowboys so much. They are. Who could that be? In case you want to sell us something, we never accept offers from door to door.
Jessica, that is my sister, Victoria. But I agree we shouldn't buy what she is selling. Namely, the Jehovah's Witness cult.
I didn't come here to argue about that. I came to talk about our mother. You really disrespected her last week, Lucy.
Well, she disrespected me, my wife, and my daughter first. Respect is a two-way street, damn it.
Maybe I should just leave you two alone?
No, anything either of us have to say, you should hear. Victoria, you know I was disfellowshipped. You should be shunning me.
Well, what the Watchtower leaders don't know won't hurt them. Anyway, Mother called you because she wanted to tell you that she is dying of cancer.
Oh, no.
So what are you going to do? Maybe you should go see her one more time. If you don't, you may regret it forever.
I would, but only if you get to see her as well. It's only fair, Carrie.
It's so strange that I have never met you before, or your own mother Lucy's own mother. I know. I'm not happy about being cut off from my sister and therefore from you, but those are the rules of the Watchtower for those who turn away from its teachings. I have studied those teachings and they make no sense to me. You don't allow blood transfusions even though they can save lives. And endanger lives too. Many people got AIDS due to blood transfusions in the 1980s.
AIDS had nothing to do with that rule. It was based on one passage in the Bible taken completely out of its context. In any case, it is never logical to take an ancient religious law and apply it to matters of modern medicine.
And when did you become an expert on medicine? Enough. I'm out of here. I'm glad you are here, Debbie. I don't think I could take any more of my mother Lucy and Aunt Victoria's bickering. That bad, eh? Yeah, and it makes me more determined than ever to remain an atheist. If there is no God, there is no reason to believe in ancient laws that screw you over in the present day. Well, I've been meaning to ask about your own sexuality. Since you were raised by two lesbians, does that mean you are lesbian too? Because I am one also. I had a feeling you were, since I saw you flirting with other girls but never with a boy. But I'm not lesbian, actually. Though, if I did have a same-sex relationship, it would certainly be with you. So what's stopping you? I've been wanting to lose my virginity for a while, and I would do it only with someone I fully trust with my body. And I trust you. Did that feel right to you? It did. I love you, Carrie. Like no one else. Very well. Maybe next week, we can make love like my two mothers often do. But this mess about my black grandmother must be dealt with first. Business before pleasure. And you, Carrie, are certainly worth waiting for.
I hope you are prepared for what can happen.
I know your mother is dying, but...
No, I mean you being scorned by her and some of my relatives that may be there. We may be ignored completely by some of them.
Even if that happens, we will be there for each other. And I'm used to being scorned or ignored by Christian bigots. Anyway, I was wondering something. You and Mother Jessica clearly come from different backgrounds. How did you meet? And what made you fall in love with her?
Oh, that is quite a story.
Waitress, I asked for corn and instead I got cornbread, which is not the same. Take this dish back and fix it, please.
I apologize for the mistake. I will.
Lucy, that's it. As of now, you are fired.
What? Without giving me another chance? I was profoundly heartbroken and left the restaurant in despair. I sat on a park bench crying, my head in my hands, until I felt a hand on my shoulder, and when I looked up...
I am so sorry. I didn't know you would be fired. That was a cruel thing for your boss to do.
He was actually looking for an excuse to get rid of me. He sexually harasses his female employees, and most of them go to bed with him in order to keep their jobs. I refused. Because I am lesbian.
Well, that's a coincidence. So am I. Do you have a girlfriend?
No, I only came out a year ago, which caused my family to disown me. I was forced to live on my own and I've been living paycheck to paycheck ever since. If my rent is not paid by the end of this month, I will be homeless.
Not if I can help it. It looks like you need a new friend, and I need a roommate. You are welcome to move in with me.
Seriously? But you hardly know me.
I know that I caused you to lose your job and that you are a lesbian like me, and I sense you are not yet comfortable with your sexual orientation. I assume you had a strict religious upbringing.
Indeed, I was raised a Jehovah's Witness. But I don't follow that religion anymore, obviously. So that's how it got started. For the first week, I slept on Jessica's couch and I acted as her living maid. Then one day, she invited me to actually sleep with her. And I did, and I totally enjoyed it.
It seems she had a beautiful soul even then.
Yes. She helped me get my next job, and over time we grew closer. I decided I would convert to whatever her religion was and was shocked to learn she was an atheist.
You were shocked?
Yes, because I had always assumed that atheists had to be bad people to reject God and religion. But over time, I saw the truth, and thus became atheist too. Some of the cruelest acts in history happened because of religions.
And then you got married?
Yes. Jessica took me on a cruise ship and the captain married us. He was a friend of her family, and dozens of her relatives were there. But none of mine.
And what about me? How did I enter the picture?
Before you were born, we tried adoption, but most adoption agencies refused us because we were lesbian. So we looked up sperm donors. We found one that was a medical student with a clean bill of health and a clean legal record. He sold us his sperm and we used it to impregnate Jessica. You were born the following year.
You know my genetic father? Is there any chance I could meet him?
Sure, but he signed a legal document terminating any parental rights to you and specifying that you were not to meet with him until you were 18. And you are only 13 now.
I understand.
We will eventually reach the hospital my mother is at. But before that, there is someone I'd like you to meet.
Who are we going to see?
A very special friend. Sophia.
Lucy, what brings you here? And who is this?
She is my daughter, Carrie. My mother is dying of cancer and I want to see her one last time and give Carrie a chance to meet her too. But since you live here, I thought I'd have you also meet Carrie and tell her about your experiences among the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Come on in, Carrie, and have a seat. When I was a child, I, along with my brother Caleb, were celebrities among the Jehovah's Witnesses. We were made to appear in dozens of short films that were used to promote the cult's teachings. I know. I've seen a few of them on YouTube. I thought they were stupid. I especially hated the one in which your mother tried to get you to preach to a little girl and her lesbian mothers. You have no idea how badly that video hurt my heart. I am so sorry. Please forgive me for that. You have to understand that I was so brainwashed that I knew no better. It might interest you to know that even the Watchtower leaders themselves know how badly that video damaged their public image, and they have been issuing copyright claims to get copies of that infamous piece of crap deleted from YouTube. That's hilarious. But I assume that you, like Mother Lucy, defected from the JWs. What made you quit? A perverted elder molested me when I was about your age and I went to the police about it. The elder was arrested and sent to prison, but I was called a slut by other girls and even some older men and women, who claimed I must have invited the abuse. That was enough to make me rebel. Blaming the victim is never cool, you know. Even my parents became cold to me. The only one among the witnesses that supported me was my brother Caleb. As soon as I turned 18, I got the hell out of that household of hypocrites. Caleb followed suit a few years later.
Thank you, Sophia. But Carrie and I need to get going now. We have a long way to go.
Thank you for letting me meet Carrie. I am so glad she is having a better childhood than I did. Do you think they will even let us see her?
We can at least try, and if we are refused, at least I will have shown that I loved my mother more than she loved me.
Lucy and Carrie, you actually came?
Yes. as badly as my mother hurt me. She is still my mother, and I feel I owe her one last visit before she goes.
So this is my aunt that I've never seen before. I am Scott, Victoria's son.
Hello, cousin. I am Carrie, Lucy's daughter.
You are no cousin of mine.
Why? Because I am white? Or because I am not a witness?
You delusional.
Scott, that's enough. I will go see grandmother first and ask her to allow Aunt Lucy and Carrie to see her. But if she refuses, you must leave, Lucy. I'm sorry, Lucy, but Mother's mind is made up. She will not see you and certainly won't see Carrie.
Well, that's her loss.
And the loss of the Jehovah's Witnesses too. I would only join a religion that preaches true love. And you hypocrites don't. And Scott, I still consider you my cousin and I could even have been your friend, but you are too narrow-minded. And that only hurts you in the end. It's okay, Mother Lucy. I and Mother Jessica are still your family. I love you.
Thank you. You are an amazing girl, Carrie. I am proud of you.
And thus the story is complete. Lucy and Victoria's mother died a week later. After Lucy got this news, she had her mother remembered at a service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in her town.
I have no belief in God, but my mother did. This is a prayer I found on the internet that seems to fit her. Oh my God. O thou forgiver of sins, bestower of gifts, dispeller of afflictions. Verily, I beseech thee to forgive the sins of such as have abandoned the physical garment and have ascended to the spiritual world. O my Lord, purify them from trespasses, dispel their sorrows, and change their darkness into light. Cause them to enter the garden of happiness, cleanse them with the most pure water, and grant them to behold thy splendors on the loftiest mount. Abdul-Baha.
Thank you, Lucy. Are there any other prayers or other readings one wishes to add? Here is one. Rest in the peace of this moment. By Chris Servants. A blazing sun on the horizon between craggy hills with deep green grass. Rest now, rest in the peace of this moment. Be at ease. Look up at the stars, and down at the grass. Imagine the stars looking back at you over years and centuries, across oceans of empty space. Imagine the feel of the grass on your bare feet and feel it, dry and crunchy, soft and supple. Rest now, rest in the peace of this moment. Dream for a little while of young people and young animals, innocent in the way of the young, careless and uncaring, accepting everything in their newness. Dream for a little while of the elders and the wisdom they have to give, the voices that say to you, it is right and proper to rest now, rest in the peace of this moment. Be still, at the turning axis of the world, and let go of the long unspooling of history, of sorrow and joy and birth and death, and all the long years between. Rest now, rest in the peace of this moment. I'm sorry, Debbie. I know I said I would make love to you after I would return from my trip with Mother Lucy, but... Carrie, you need say no more. I know you are far from ready. When I said you were worth waiting for, I meant it. And even if we don't become an actual couple in the future, I will still remain your best friend. I know what you need and I will give that to you. Thank you. You will be a perfect lover for the one who does become a couple with you. She will be the luckiest girl in the world.